feeling about this.
I've got a very bad feeling about this. Specifically this chart right here. As you guys can see, Bitcoin has had a red candlestick, a green candlestick, and then a red to follow, and we're currently sitting just above our all-important uptrending level of support, sitting at around $11,700. Volume is tapering off, and MACD and RSI are trending to the downside. And as we have made abundantly clear in this video so far, at least I very much hope that message was conveyed to you. If it wasn't, you might want to go back and watch it a second time. I'm not so sure how clear we were about it, but the fact is, I have a pretty bad feeling about this, and in this video, we're going to be discussing exactly why I have a bad feeling about the current cryptocurrency climate. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down everything having to do with that. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be doing some shorter-term technical analysis on Bitcoin, and by the end of this video, I think you're going to have a much better understanding of where Bitcoin is now, all of the impacts and effects that the rest of the market are having on Bitcoin are doing, and you'll have a much better understanding of where Bitcoin is heading. Guys, I think you're going to get a lot of great value out of today's video. Thank you so much for 1.2K likes and 13,000 views yesterday, guys. I really appreciate it. Before we get started, I do just first want to mention the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. As you guys know, CT2A is on sale right now, and I would highly encourage you to join us before the month is over because, guys, we're about to increase the price of CT2A another $50, and if you want to get into the Academy before that happens and get access to all current and all future content, a lot of which will be coming in the next couple of months, I highly encourage you to join us with the link in the description down below. Use coupon code August2020 at checkout and get started learning everything you need to know to actually work profitably in these markets. But for now, though, guys, without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Guys, before we get started, I want to make one thing very clear, and that is while I am bullish on the long term of Bitcoin, I have learned in my experience in these markets that oftentimes when you are very experienced in the markets as I am, and when you've seen as much market movement as I have, sometimes it's a good idea to listen to your own intuition and your own gut. That's why in CT2A, we talk about something called your intuition right up there. Am I pointing in the right place? Yeah, right there, right up there. We talk about something called your intuition. And your intuition is very, very important. A lot of people write it off and say, oh, you're just following your gut. Oh, you're not doing technical analysis. You're just flying by the seat of your pants. No, you need to listen to your instinct, your intuition, your gut feeling, your wisdom, whatever you want to call it. It's very important that if you are proficiently able to trade profitably in this market, which I most certainly am, and if you have experience in the market, you've seen enough of the market, it's not a bad thing to listen to what your gut is telling you, and I will tell you what mine is saying. Mine is saying we're about to break bearish. I might be wrong. Your intuition will be wrong just as much as any other technical indicator, but I do want to take that down that rabbit hole and see where it leads us in today's technical analysis. Because as I mentioned in the intro to today's video, we have seen quite a bit of red over the last 4 days. We saw red, slightly smaller red, a green candlestick, then red. What are these 3 candlesticks called? We always call them RGRs, red, green, red formations, and those are typically pretty bearish for Bitcoin. The opposite of that would be a GRG, a green, red, green, where you see a green candlestick followed by a red candlestick that does not engulf the green, followed by a green candlestick that does engulf the red. That's what we saw right here. That's what we saw right here. And even going back, that's what we saw right there and many other times in history. You see these all over the place in the chart, and they are mirror images, just as many things in technical analysis are. This is the bearish one, and we've just had one form. Now, of course, today's daily candlestick has not closed at the time of recording this video. There will be another about 7 hours before it does, but unless something crazy happens, it's likely that it will close red down here. Now, does just that alone mean that Bitcoin's going to break bearish and move to the downside? No, it doesn't. Of course, we don't want to base our technical analysis just off of your intuition, and you also don't want to base your technical analysis off of just one chart formation. But something that I can point out is that even though in the longer term, I do really like that Bitcoin's RSI is pulling back because it's resetting us to a level so that we can continue to rally. Even though I really like that MACD is bearish right now and pulling back down to the 0 level, and even though I like that stochastic RSI is sitting in prime territory for a new rally, even though all of that is true, and even though I think Bitcoin pulling back right now would actually be one of the most bullish things it can do because we're sitting above strong support that we're not going to break, and we'll lock in gains, we'll build support levels for the future, and we will allow ourselves to reset our momentum and continue pushing to the upside in a healthy way rather than a negative, stupid way like we saw happen in the beginning of 2019, even though I think Bitcoin pulling back here is a good thing. I want to make that very clear. That doesn't mean I think it's not going to pull back. I do have a feeling right now, and I might be wrong on this. I'm not necessarily making a call on this. I'm simply telling you what I'm feeling, and we'll see if I'm right or wrong, that we might pull back here. as I showed you, many of the technical indicators actually agree with my intuition that Bitcoin may be about to break to the downside. I didn't even mention the falling volume on Bitcoin. I mean, over the last 5 days, we have seen consistently decreasing volume on Bitcoin. You would expect that in a consolidation pattern, but when Bitcoin tried to break bullish and it was not able, that is a telltale sign. It's a sign that while Bitcoin has weakened this resistance, and while in the future it will be more easy for us to break it, right now, Bitcoin is simply not bullish enough to do so. We're in the middle of a hype cycle on Bitcoin, and those hype cycles do invariably come to their ultimate conclusions. And what that may mean for Bitcoin is a break to the downside out of our current triangle pattern and a pullback down to our previous level of resistance, now turns support at $10,500. It is very much within the realm of possibility that we pull back down to this level if we break bearish here. So really the only two questions we have right now in this scenario is, one, does Bitcoin break to the downside? And two, if so, how do we trade it? Well, the interesting thing is we can actually skip over question 1 to answer question 2, but we're not going to do that because if Bitcoin does break to the downside, you need to start the trade after it does, so it doesn't even matter if the answer to that is yes. But nevertheless, I want to answer the question anyway. And before we do, you need to understand one thing about triangle patterns. It is very common that Bitcoin moves into a triangle pattern and it will rally up and test the resistance, and then everybody says, oh, we're about to break it, and then it pulls back, and then we're testing the support, and everybody says, oh, we're about to break it, and then we rally up to the resistance, and everybody says, oh, we're about to break it. It's very common for people to get concerned about a breakout to either direction just because the market is trading around that level at that particular time. It would be very easy for me to accidentally fall into a trader's bias of saying, we're going to break to the downside because we're testing the support. Well, you know what? For a triangle pattern to form, you have to test the support. That doesn't mean that the triangle pattern can't recover and break to the upside. Just because Bitcoin is sitting on the support level right now is not why I'm feeling bearish on Bitcoin. It's a combination of everything, including our failed break to the upside recently, candlestick formations, volumes, strong levels of resistance at 12.1 that I don't personally think we have the exuberance and retail investor interest to break right now, and our oscillators. That is 5 or 6 different things, not including my intuition, that backs up my intuition and my feeling that we're going to break to the downside. You see what I did there? This is very important for technical analysis, and you need to understand this. You find one technical indicator oftentimes, and it tells you something. And you ask yourself the question, is this technical indicator right? Or is this technical indicator wrong? In my case, the indicator is not technical, but the indicator that we started with was my feeling that Bitcoin was going to break to the downside based off of my previous experience. Then what did we do? We didn't just close up shop and say, I feel like Bitcoin's going to break to the downside. Make a trade. Boom. Sometimes you can make a trade based off of one indicator. Normally not a good idea. We followed it down the rabbit hole. We found, let me count them, RSI, MACD, stochastic RSI, strong levels of resistance, retail investor interest, chart formations, volume, and more. Because there's some other things I haven't talked about. So at least 7, more like 8 to 10 different reasons why Bitcoin might break to the downside here. If we look on the other side, what are the bullish factors? Well, number one, something that might not be bullish, but counter to what I just said, is that Bitcoin is trading against the support, but that doesn't mean that Bitcoin is necessarily going to break it. A lot of times, technical analysis really can come down to just lining up all the bullish technical indicators, lining up all the bearish technical indicators, combining them, and then seeing who has the more points when it's over. There's obviously more to it, but at its simplest, that is one of the ways that you could do it. You also want to, if you were to run this into an algorithm, for example, you'd throw in weighted values of each technical indicator because some are more important than others, and some are more relevant at the current time than others. But then we're getting off into computer science, and let's just not do that because that will turn this video from 20 minutes into 20 hours. Guys, my point here is that I think the technical indicators are saying Bitcoin's breaking to the downside. I have a feeling we're going to, but I might be wrong. And I'd love to hear your take on that in the comment section down below. Look, we're coming very, very close to the end of this consolidation pattern, and that is specifically why I even made this video. Because the closer you get to the end, the apex of a consolidation pattern, the more likely you are to break it. Obviously, because less time is left. And since Bitcoin is trading against the resistance right now and everything I said, I think we're going to break to the downside. So with that said, how would we go about trading this market? Well, obviously with consolidation patterns, if we remember back to how to trade them, we don't want to enter a position before the breakout happens. How do we define the breakout? Well, we see the consolidation pattern on the daily chart. Let's go down to the hourly chart and see what's going on there. As you can see, we pulled back down here once, bounce, pull back again, bounce, pull back again. Why have we pulled back down 3 times? It's a bearish indicator. Notice the previous time we pulled back down here, we pulled back, bounced, and then rallied. That was not what happened here. We bounced and then bounced and then bounced again and fell back down to where we started. So what would we look for in a trading scenario down here on the hourly chart? We would look for a large red candlestick. We'd look for a large hourly chart or even maybe 15-minute chart volume candlestick, ones such as this one right here, or this one right here, which indicate a lot of volume and liquidity coming back into the space. By the time you catch this falling knife and you enter a short position on it, Bitcoin might be trading around 11.5. Let's say we trade from 11.670 all the way to 11.5 in 2 or 3 minutes. you can bet your bottom dollar that we're probably having a bearish breakout. And this is where you would more than likely have your entry position. You would more than likely have your entry position just below 11.5 because there is a potential that Bitcoin would bounce around $11,500. Not only would a trade below 11.5 be smart because 11.5 is a natural level of support, it's also pretty far below the 20 daily EMA, which we would obviously have to break to enter a downtrend because the 20 EMA is the definition of uptrend or downtrend as far as I'm concerned. So you can enter a position around maybe say 11.450, 11.375, something like that. And then I'll be honest with you guys, if Bitcoin does break to the downside, I see it pulling all the way back down to at least $11,000, if not $10,500. Entering a short position with a long of, let's say, 11,425, a stop loss of $11,675, because at that point you would have rallied back up above, considerably above the 20 DEMA, and we'd expect it to continue to the upside if you were to be stopped out there. And the first take profit sitting at around $11,000, that would be a 1.7 risk to reward ratio. Not bad, especially if you're watching it like a hawk in real time and you're using leverage over on Bybit, which we do have a link for down below, by the way, for experienced traders only. But if we do break to the downside here, I don't think we're just going to stop at 11K. I think we would probably pull back down to our massive support level at 10.5. So if I were to execute this trade, I would probably exit some of it around $11,050 because sometimes you don't pull back to the exact position. So maybe 11.50, maybe sell a third of it, close a third of it there, close a third of it down at 10.5, and then close a third of it, or just hold on to it and then close it wherever you feel comfortable with. Now that I've said all that, I have to cover my own tail because I don't want to get sued, and I will be very clear with this so that everybody understands. This is simply one trade that I just came up with. You don't have to trade like this. This is just an example of how you would go about figuring out the process to set up a trade. This is not necessarily the trade you want to make. This is simply an example of a trade that you could make. Please, for the love of God, do not just make a trade because a YouTuber presents one on their video. I don't want you to make this exact trade. I want you to look at the market and make the trade based off of your own intuition. And you know what? Speaking of which, Bitcoin is actually pulling back at the time of recording this video. So maybe my little intuition was right because we've just pulled back down to 11,625. So Bitcoin will probably be pulling back or not pulling back when this video goes live. So feel free to check your charts on that and consider how you want to enter this trade. Remember, every trade needs to be executed with wisdom. It needs to be executed with the utmost understanding of technical analysis, and it needs to be executed with less money than you're willing to lose. Because especially when you're trading on leverage, it is possible that you lose everything in your position. Never trade with more money than you're willing to lose, and believe me, you will thank me 10 years from now when you haven't gotten wrecked and left the market and you're still in Bitcoin and you're sitting on a ton of money because you were faithful to the space and you didn't make a dumb mistake. So guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. If you want me explaining more of why I'm feeling bearish on Bitcoin right now rather than what it means for Bitcoin, because those are two completely different conversations, I'm more than happy to have them. Tell me, and maybe we can discuss that in tomorrow's video. But before we go, guys, I do first want to mention the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, because as you guys know, CT2A is what allows this channel to be possible. We are taking on several more people behind the scenes so that we can continue growing the environment that we are building here, guys. There is so much content about to come to CT2A. There is so much new, improved, awesome content that's about to come to this YouTube channel. In less than 2 weeks, we're moving into our office 10 days from today. And from there, things start getting crazy awesome as far as the work that we're doing behind the scenes and the content we're delivering to you guys. I am so much looking forward to it, and all of that is paid for by our awesome members of the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. Guys, I cannot thank you enough if you have joined us along the way and you're getting value out of the Academy. Guys, we have several thousand students in CT2A, and they are always telling me how much they enjoy the Academy. We're about to completely rebuild our entire website, and one of the pages on the site is going to be a list of all of our testimonials, because I have a collection of 200 or 300 positive ones that I want you guys to see so that you can be confident in your purchase before you join the Academy. But until we get that made, I encourage you, join our Discord server down below, talk to some of our students, see what they have to say about the Academy. I dare you to go and try and find a negative review. If you do, let me know, because I clearly need to address that with the student that you talk to and do something to make it right with them. If there is a negative review that you find, which I don't think you're going to, tell them to contact me, because I want to make it right. It doesn't happen very often, which is why I'm able to do that personally. CT2A is the one-stop shop to learn everything you need to know about technical analysis so that you can lay the foundation of understanding how to use the tool that is TA, that is going to allow you to read and profitably analyze and invest and trade in these markets. As many people have said in the comment section over the last several videos, the most important thing you will ever do is invest in your education. I don't care what Bitcoin is doing. I don't care what Tesla is doing. I don't care what gold is doing, the SPY, stocks, the economy. I don't care if your grandmother comes up to you and says that she has this new lemonade stand. If you invest in it, you're going to make 10,000% overnight. If anyone gives you that advice, they're probably full of it, and they probably just want to bake you cookies because grandmas are awesome. But let me tell you something. No investment, even grandma's lemonade stand, is as good as an investment in your education. With me or anyone, I want you to remember just how important that is, even if you don't do business with us. I know you'll benefit if you do, but even if you don't, take away one thing, and that is that investment in your education is the most important investment you will ever make. The only reason I've been able to do what I've been able to do at age 19 is because I continually and every single day invest in my education. My house is littered with books. I have one sitting on my desk right here. Great book, by the way. If you haven't read this, go read it. Shout out to Jocko Willing, former Navy SEAL. Thank you for your service. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it out for today's video. Before I go, though, I do just really, seriously, guys, want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video.